Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over Litecoin and BitDao. So BitDao is part of the Bybit ecosystem. Their token, sort of like the FTT of FTX, and hopefully it doesn't have that many problems that FTX and FTT did. Of course, I mentioned that just because crypto is a very high risk game. However, since people do trade this asset, and it has been something of a discussion point in some of the groups that I've been in, I just did think I would do a review. Of course, Litecoin is one that we've been following for quite a while, all the way since it bottomed out, and that is continuing to follow the fractal that we had taken a look at. So let's jump into Litecoin. And the first thing that I want to just take a look at is the chart that I had structured out, that kind of fractal, right, from way back. And what you can see is that we are hitting all the key points. Now, of course, no fractal is perfect. There are going to be significant differences, but in general, if this thing continues to run the way that it has run in the past, then we should expect some type of, continuation to this $100 area, if not $150 or somewhere in between. It's just how Litecoin goes once it has bottomed out, and a lot of people were getting really afraid. Oh no, Litecoin was having some dip, right? When it crossed into this blue barrier that I have not only in this previous cycle, but also in our current cycle. And that, was something very similar to what happened in the past, where we did get hung up on the blue barrier and we did have to just make another go at it. Why is that blue barrier so significant on Litecoin? Well, look, it's holding up the entire top of the chart. So breaking through it suggests we're going to put in another topping structure. Now, it might not be just a mega, bull market, but it could be a bull run, not a market, but a run. And if we are able to break above this blue barrier that I do have here on this Litecoin chart, then things could get very interesting very fast. If we do get rejected, which personally I hope that we do, so you can get another chance for an entry down here, sort of like we were able to get one before this thing really took off in the past. But I think that chance may have already passed with this little dip right here, and it was just so fast that nobody got to participate, and that would be analogous to what happened when we did have this dip right here at the red barrier, right? And the red barrier, look at this. Hit it, boom, all the way to the bottom where you're supposed to get your epic buy. And if you didn't get your epic buy there for Litecoin, then brother, you missed out. But of course, I've been reviewing this thing ever since it bottomed out. So I hope you were able to grab a bag. Now, why is Litecoin one of these assets that may be favored? Well, not financial advice, of course, but Litecoin could potentially be a commodity, and not a security, unlike other assets out there, except for Bitcoin, really, maybe Doge. Okay, so when we're taking a look at potential regulation in the future of the space, then of course Litecoin is one of those assets that may have potential to escape some of the legal issues that may come up. And again, this isn't financial or legal advice. I'm just saying, hey, it's done a nice run in the past. Maybe it could do another, nice run again in the future. And of course, this mid-cycle rally may be something that we get to look forward to. If not now, then maybe just being knocked down, and then maybe one more chance. But it sure does look like it's going for it, guys. It sure does look like it's having an acceleration of this previous fractal kind of area. So let's go ahead and just, and by the way, for those of you who are looking at this just sharp decline and then this bounce, it looks like we sort of got that bounce up here. So this one was also accelerated. So, this cycle may be a bit contracted compared to the previous one. And I have no idea what to expect next, but because everything's pretty weird in the world right now, but things are looking pretty good for Litecoin. However, we are at resistance. You can see that we do have overhead resistance, and we bumped our head here, bumped our head here, bumped our head here. We are at the blue barrier. We're sitting over it right now, but this is just a zone. It's not really perfect, but things are looking very interesting. Now, I did have another potential buy area right down here, right? Should we be able to lift ourselves up from from the bottom of my blue barrier? And we sure were able to do that. And that was a nice, juicy 14% move right there. So guys, Litecoin has been just being our friend in the recent months. Guys, let's go ahead and put on the daily key price levels to watch for Litecoin over here. And I will turn off this group because it's a bit noisy. So for the, actually, let's go to the 12-hour first because the 12-hour does close in 2 hours. So let's go ahead and just stretch this out and take a look at what's going on the 12-hour. And we can see that we do have critical momentum, the blue line, and then also we're overlapping with one of my green lines here, right at the top of the chart where we're getting rejected here with these three, wicks. And so, guys, we really do need to recover $81.62 in the next 2 hours if you would like to have bullish continuation, maintain that momentum to the upside. We're also underneath our volatility pivot at 81.47. We would want to reclaim that if we would like to get a volatility pump to the upside, one of these epic candles, right? We will have that potential if we are above 81.47, currently underneath there. And guys, we will lose significant momentum if we're underneath $79.84. This is on the 12-hour, which closes in 2 hours. So you can see we may just be in a consolidation phase on the 12-hour. Let's take a look and see if the daily has anything different for us. And we do have a little bit more of a range. So you don't have to be too worried about the 79.84. If we do look at the EMAs for the 12-hour, you can see that we do have the 9 EMA down here at approximately 79. So, to just take a dip down to 79, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. We could even go as low as 75.81. Now, for the 12-hour, that could, breaching 79.84 would suggest that we're probably going to go for a deeper pullback. But if we do, again, just put on the daily, you can see that we do have support in this area around 77, which would perhaps just lift us up. So let's go to the daily chart. And here's our key levels for that. You can see that we do need to be above that $81.62 level in order to hold on to our daily candle momentum. And our volatility pivot is below us at 79.01. So even if we tagged 79.07, even if we tagged 79.07, as long as we held above that, we could still have the chance for some more of this epic pumpage, even if we came all the way down to 79.07. Where things get a little bit more sketchy is underneath there. And definitely if we lose 77.28, 77.18, then our daily momentum is going to be completely dried up, our continuation momentum, and we will probably break something critically to the downside. And since our daily 21 is down there at 74, maybe we could get some support. I also see our 200 simple moving average, the orange line right there. And we do have the 200 EMA at 69.80, which would probably give us very good support, just like it kind of pulled us up here and lifted us up. So, overall, we are having a supportive zone follow us up, and I don't think that Litecoin looks bearish. This is a very bullish looking chart. It's just having overhead resistance. And if we look backwards, you can see we had that resistance here before an epic pump. We had that resistance here before an epic dump. We had that resistance here before a dump and then a pump. And then a little bit higher, we had some even more resistance. So guys, it's not going to be easy just to go straight up, but this asset is fighting for control of a bullish outlook, and so if we do have pullbacks, probably no big deal. We're not really in danger of breaking anything right now unless things just collapse. So guys, that was a Litecoin. I am going to move on to another asset. Let's take a look at BitDao. So BitDao, as I mentioned, it's part of Bybit. This isn't sponsored or anything like that. In fact, I don't even use Bybit, but a lot of my friends do, and they are invested in the Bit token. So I just thought I'd do a review. One of the first things that you can notice just on the daily here is that we are getting pretty close to that 200 EMA at 52.5 cents. And if we did get up there, I would expect probably a rejection in that neighborhood. Rejecting sooner than that is likely. As you can see, our volume is starting to decrease. We do get spikes, but it is overall decreasing ever since this candle over here. So, this thing may start to fade. It may start to curve or, have some type of a pullback. So, just something to pay attention to off the bat, and it may have a limit on where it can go just in the next potential pump, even if it did pump. Okay, so let's jump to the 12-hour and take a look at the 12-hour EMAs. Very supportive. It did break through. It's a 12-hour 200, but as you can see in the past, that's never really been a guarantee of anything. It just sort of put a toppy formation there, put a toppy wick, and then killed over. Didn't even make it here. Can't see this, but you can just imagine that the 200 EMA went through this price action, holding up the top before it rolled over. So for the 12-hour, the 200 EMA hasn't been a really good friend. It really has been just a kind of blocker at the party, just blocking, Bit from being able to talk to the girls. And, although he was able to push through, this time kind of shove, the competitors to the side. And, maybe this thing has legs. We are getting some resistance at this area on the left of the chart where we have all of this price action, where we have this kind of resistance over here. We have that past resistance right here. And so it is going to be a bit of a battle. Let's go ahead and take a look at our key price levels to watch. And on the 12-hour, which is closing in 2 hours, I would suggest that, and I am using the Bybit perpetual contract charts here because I know a lot of these, degens are on leverage on Bybit. So, just using the most applicable chart for you guys, you can see that our volatility pivot is above 46.60 in terms of cents there, and we are above it. So if we do get a volatility spike on the 12-hour, it could have the potential to pump us up. And again, we do have that daily 200 EMA over our head, so maybe we could have another go. We are holding our current momentum, and if we close in 2 hours, on this candle, it's going to be above my, alpha momentum pool here. My alpha momentum pool is always between the two green lines, so that would be very positive for BitDao. Whether it checks back or not above these lines, I don't know how overextended it could get. I'm just saying it's holding on to all of its bullish momentum on the 12-hour. We will lose a sizable amount of momentum at 45.2 cents, and we will lose our general continuation momentum and start to break things around 44.8 cents, where perhaps we could check all the way back to 43 cents, maybe even 40 cents, as these type of pullbacks happen. Maybe even back to the 200 at 37, although I doubt that. most likely we are just going to fill out this naked candle if we do have a pullback. Let's jump to the daily just so that we can get some type of a comparison here. And there you see that 200 EMA overhead, which could end up just blocking us. Putting on the daily levels, we can see a little bit of difference. The daily volatility pivot is a little bit higher, so it is a little bit higher threshold. We are in danger of losing that daily volatility pivot. And, we do have a bigger buffer room on the daily than on the 12-hour for breaking down. So we don't really break anything until 42.5 cents on the daily chart, which is closing in 14 hours. And we don't lose significant amounts of momentum unless we're under 43 cents. So again, we have a lot of room to play with. We have this naked candle over here, which we could come down to just reclaim before and in a consolidation move before pushing up further. But as long as we're above this holding our current momentum level of 45.8 cents, and definitely as long as we're above this volatility pivot and the holding momentum level, our bias is just to the upside. I cannot be bearish. So for the 12-hour and for the daily, I just cannot be bearish on it. I don't recommend shorting unless we breach these critical areas, and then you can short perhaps one level to the next level down. But again, we really haven't broken anything to the point that I'm bearish on this asset, and there is this kind of natural target over here. The only thing that I would say is that we are in this area where we do have this, these heavy candles just sitting right above us. Um, but you can see that but you can see the top of this candle right here matches with the top of the candle over here. So if we are able to flip this zone, then we have skyrocketed in the past from there. So hey, something to look forward to. Yeah, you can see this consolidation area here, this consolidation area here, this consolidation area here, really lining up with that 200 EMA. Just put I can just put like a line at the top of it, put a line at the bottom of it, and look right there. You can see the 200 EMA. So this could be a tempting goal for this price action, and I wouldn't say it's time to short it yet. Let's go ahead and just take a look at some of these indications, and we can see that there is a turn down in the volatility, which does suggest that this thing may be entering a new phase at the close of the day tomorrow. Okay, so, and we also see it is running a bit hot, okay, on a lot of these indications. So yeah, just something to pay attention to. Bit may have used up a lot of its fuel, and maybe you get one more drive, but that would really be pushing your luck, in my opinion, just for the daily chart, okay? And by the way, sorry about that. It says closes in 3 hours. That's not correct. It closes in 14 hours. That was my previous analysis for somebody else. These levels are updated for this video. Sorry about that. Guys, I am just trying to produce a little bit more interesting content while we're having this pump, getting some of those altcoins out there. I hope you're enjoying that. I hope you are having a good time trading. That was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.